I have to tell you something so serious.
What?
No, for real. No. Hear me out. I have to tell you something so serious.
What?
Lewis, no, for real. Take it seriously. For 1 second. I have to tell you something so serious. So. Yeah. So, no, I have to tell you, I have to tell you something so serious. For
Okay,
real.
what?
God has a plan for you. Mind blown. God has a plan for you.
No, he doesn't.
No, I rebuke that. Get behind me, Satan. I rebuke that. You have a plan.
He has a plan for me.
God has a plan for you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to In the Fire. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, or watching us on YouTube. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. We love you guys from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us, all the
1000%.
messages, everything. We love you, and we thank you for tuning in to In the Fire. Today, God has a plan for you. Tomorrow, God has a plan for you. And yesterday, God had a plan for you. God has a plan for you. Why are you looking at me like that?
Sure?
Are you disagreeing already?
Are you sure he has a plan for me?
Yeah, of course.
Like, is that depending on anything, or do I just have a plan for my life?
God has a plan for you.
That's it?
Yeah, of course.
But, like, how do I make sure I'm in his plan? How do I figure that out?
What do you mean?
How do I figure out my purpose? How do I figure out the plan? Like,
that's a long and complicated question.
okay.
We can end the episode there. That's just too long to answer.
Okay.
I don't feel like doing it.
That's fine.
But yeah, God has a plan for you. Just know that. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but for real, God has a plan. Bro, don't. No. God has a plan for you. God has a plan for me. God has a plan for you.
Yes, yep. Most definitely.
He has a plan that's beyond your career, beyond your interests, beyond your family, beyond who you marry, beyond how many kids you have and who your kids are. God has a plan for you.
And I know we hear that and we're like, okay, what is it? What's my plan? Or what's the blueprint for my life?
Oh, the blueprint.
Which, bro, come on.
Yeah,
you know,
the blueprint.
I've always said that. Like,
The
God,
blueprint.
Tell me the blueprint. Like, tell me the blueprint. Like, I need to know because, tell me if I'm gonna have, what wife I'm going to have in 2 years. Tell me the job I'm going to have in 3 years. Because, like, it's just easier. But
Yeah.
it's like, we know it's not about being robots.
It's not.
It's not about being robots. It's about being humans. And yeah, like, man, what's my plan? What's my future?
So does God have a plan for all of us?
Most definitely.
Okay. Every
Most
single
definitely.
one.
Every single one.
Do you have proof?
Before birth.
You have proof. Give me the proof.
You want the proof?
Yeah.
Jeremiah 29:11.
Okay.
I think you know that verse if
Yes.
you wanna say that.
Oh, if I want to say, I
can say it, but if you want.
For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for prosperity and not disaster, to give you a future and a hope.
To give you hope and a future.
Hold on. Jeremiah 1:5. I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my prophet to the nations. Wait a minute. But maybe God's just talking about Jeremiah there.
Nah.
Why not?
All of us. He has a plan for every, like, because look, nobody's a mistake.
Ooh, say that again.
Nobody is a mistake.
Yes,
like,
sir.
I know people might have said that over people's lives, but you're not a mistake.
Nope.
Like, if you're on this earth, like, this is something I heard a long time ago. If you have breath in your lungs, you have purpose in your life.
Wow.
You are made on purpose for a purpose. Like, you have purpose. And I know we love that verse. Jeremiah, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love saying it. I love sharing it with people. Like, bro, like, imagine, like, you know, you're on this earth and there's so many people trying to find what they're made to do. Like, man, I'm trying to find that. Maybe it's like, I'm trying to find that career.
I think that's everybody,
If I get
bro.
that, you know, if I
Everybody.
get that degree, I get that job, I'll be chilling.
Yeah.
I'll feel good. But it's like, no, it's much more than just a degree. Like, it's like you're here, like, on purpose for a purpose.
Bro, the verse said God formed you and appointed you and chose you before you were born.
Yeah.
Y'all need to understand that for real. You were chosen before you were born. God didn't say that verse wasn't a reaction from God from you being born. Oh, Jeremiah was born? Okay, I'm going to make him a plan or make him a story. No, he had it before you were born. The verse that talks about God knitting you in the womb.
Yeah.
He was preparing you. He was readying you because he had already chose you. He already had a plan for you. That's what you guys need to get drilled into your head is God has a plan for you.
1000%.
Not just for us, not just for pastors, not just for people in ministry. God has a plan for you. For you. Not dependent on who you are, what you've done, where you were born, and how you were born. That doesn't matter. God has a plan for you.
That's so true. And like, again, we love that verse, Jeremiah 29:11. We love it. But we forget about 12 and 13, right?
Okay.
Like, let me share that because a lot of people forget about this. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And this is the key verse. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Now, this is why like a lot of people forget this. Yes, definitely God has a purpose for your life since before you were born, before you were knit in your mother's womb. God had a purpose for your life, right? But if we reject God's free gift of salvation, right? If we reject that, if like somebody comes to us and we say, "Yo, Jesus has a plan for your life, bro. Give your life to Jesus. Like love Jesus," and we reject that, like we're gonna come to a crossroads at my purpose and God's plan. Not like the purpose God's giving, but what I want to do, right? Because if I reject God's offer of like, I don't want Jesus, I don't want God, but I want His plan. The thing is, you can't, like, I guess you're gonna butt heads with God basically because you're gonna be trying to do whatever you want to do, but you haven't accepted God into your heart.
People try to play God. That's what that sounds like. You say, the creator of this universe, the creator of me, my creator. The one that knows how many hairs are on my head. Yeah, one just fell out as I was talking. He counted that. He knows all of my strengths, all of my weaknesses. But I know better. I'm me. How can God know better than me? I know what I want. Are you kidding me? I know what I need. I know what I want. I know what's best for me.
My parents told me this, so it's definitely correct.
Yeah.
God doesn't know better than my parents.
We start to play God around here. When we take the table, God says, okay, here's the plan, and you go whoosh, and you push the plans off the table, and you say, God, I've got my own. And He's like, do you see the ending to this? And you're like, doesn't matter. I want my plans. We start to play God.
Wow.
Crazy.
And it's a lot of arrogance there. Not arrogance, ignorance.
Yeah.
Because it's like, God, I want to do what I want to do, but it's like, if He made you and He knows what you're on this earth for. If He has your purpose in His hands, you know better than Him, right? And that's why I want to share that third verse because everybody forgets about that. But it's like if for you to be like this, is how I feel.
Okay, hold on. So for me to enter God's plans, I have to accept His free gift of salvation.
I'll say 100%. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
So if I don't accept that salvation, I don't accept His plans. So anybody that doesn't follow God is not living in the purpose for their life.
I would say so, yeah. Because I've heard things before where there's people, gang leaders, right?
Okay.
Who are supposed to be pastors.
Whoa.
But it's because they have that leadership gift that they're in a leadership position, but instead of leading a church, they're leading a gang. You see, God has put gifts in us. He's put abilities in us. Like now, we have these gifts.
Do those depend on our salvation?
No, because we have them inside us. Like people are just born, born natural leaders. Like people since kids were just leaders. They become leaders and they start leading the wrong thing, right? Or I've heard this one story of this one girl who was very good at bringing people to a club. She would go outside, have flyers, hand out flyers. She would bring so many people to this club. Yet when she found God, she realized that she had the gift of evangelism. You see, God gives us these gifts, but if we're just doing whatever we want to do and we don't accept God, we're like, I don't need God. I'm fine by myself. It's like you think this is the best plan for you, but it's actually going to lead you to death, right? I know you know the verse in Proverbs. Obviously, like, you're not going to die, but it's like it's not the plan God has for you, right? You're going to butt heads with God if you don't put Him first, if you don't make Him priority. Like this question of, is God priority in your life?
Ooh.
Like, do you have God in your mind 24/7? Okay,
so can somebody, let's say I call myself a Christian. I pray, I go to church. Am I living in my plan? Like, is the plan activated now? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's say for people new to the faith, they start praying, they start going to the church. Yeah. Okay, they're starting to get to know God. God already has a plan for them, as we talked about, from when you were born, right?
Yeah.
They're not automatically living in that plan, are they? I mean, I guess they are because now they've entered the faith.
Yeah.
And that was part of God's plan, and that was the beginning of it.
That's the thing. I feel like as people come to God, they're like, okay, God, tell me why I'm here. Tell me everything about my life. Tell me what's going to happen in a few years. Tell me the position I'm going to have. And it's like, God's not going to do that. God's not going to tell you. He's not going to give you the blueprint, even though we really want it. He's not going to give us the blueprint.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people, I know a lot of people are still kind of unaware of what's my purpose. What is the plan for my life? If you don't know that right now, that doesn't mean that God does not have like work for you. Right? Because we always try to think, oh, God wants me to be a pastor. Oh, you bet. Not everybody's going to be a pastor.
Right.
But does that mean that I don't have to do anything? Like, I guess I don't have a calling or whatever? No, God has work for you. Like, you don't have to know specifically what it is that God has put you on this earth, like, right now. Like, all you have to do is follow him and trust him like a kid, right? We are to have, like, childlike faith, right? To trust God as a kid, right? And I say that, that, like, trusting God and what's it called?
Seeking him. I say that because, if you're continuously seeking him, putting him first, like walking alongside him, and yet he's the one that knows everything, and you're walking alongside him, don't you think you can trust that? Wow.
Like, imagine walking through life and God is right next to you and he's like helping you. He's telling you, hey, this is not good. That's not good. And you're listening to that. You're going to be in his will all the time. Right? But if you're trying to just go do your own thing and God's like, I want you to do this. This is your purpose. But you're doing something else. You're going to get it to a crossroads.
Yeah.
You're going to butt heads.
So what I'm getting from everything that you're saying, that's so awesome. So awesome. But so for the people that are seeking a calling, seeking a purpose, trying to understand this plan that God has for them, trying to understand these gifts, when you seek God, you're automatically in the right place. But here the word is seek. Like, we're not talking about like brief getting to know God. When you dive deep, like we always say that, but the results of you and your intimacy with God, everything else would be added onto you. You're seeking purpose. What's the solution? Get intimate with God. You're upset. You have a lot of emotions. You have a lot of struggles right now. You're in the valley. What's the solution? Dive deep with God. You feel distant from God. What's the solution? Dive deep with God.
Wow.
Everything that you want to do, you want to be successful. We want to do really well at the podcast and have fire episodes for you guys. How do we do that? Dive deep with God.
Wow.
Because if we're separated from God, how can we deliver truth to you guys?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
no,
at the end of the
definitely,
day, everything leads back to your intimacy with God.
100%. And like I said before, God has work for you. Even if you're not specifically, you don't know exactly what it is you're going to do. God has work for you. And what is that? We're called to share the gospel. We're called to be more like Jesus every single day.
Yep.
We're called to love people the way God loves us. Right?
What's crazy is our original purpose here was to be in fellowship with God. Our purpose for us, like the reason God made you, the reason God made us is to be in fellowship with God. That's why when we talk about people that are distant from God or don't know God, that's why they feel that emptiness and nothing's able to fill them.
Yeah.
Because the purpose for us was to be in fellowship with God.
Wow. And that's so good. And that's something I wanted to say. Like, we're made to be in fellowship. Like when God made Adam and Eve, he walked with them. Like they were together. Like they were in constant communion meaning they were sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, talking to each other. Like that's what it's about. It's about being intimate with God, like you're saying, right? And it's like again, as you're being intimate with God, you're going through that. You're walking with God. Like you're just gonna continue to be guided and know that no matter where you're at, like you're gonna be in His will.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the most important thing. You're gonna be in His will. And why is it so important? Humans are made to worship, right? We're made to devote ourselves to something. We're made to give our resources, give our time, a lot of our resource and time to something. We're made to praise something, to devote to something, right?
Yeah.
And if that thing isn't God, it's going to be something else.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's money, whether it's fame or status or whatever it is that you're seeking, if it's not God, it's going to be something else. And if it's something else, like how much can God really lead you? How much noise is there in your head that it's not quiet enough to hear God's whisper?
Whoa! Wow!
You see, it's like you have to really be walking with God and being close to Him because I think I've shared this example before. But the only way to whisper to somebody is if they're close to you, right? If I whisper and you're all the way like down the street, you're not gonna hear me. But if you're close to me and I whisper to you, you're going to hear my voice. You're going to hear what I'm saying. Right? And it's like, are you close to God? Are you worshiping God? Are you devoting yourself to him, seeking him, or are you worshiping something else? Right? Because if you're worshiping something else, then it's like, it's like, how is that? Like, how are you going to be in his will? How are you going to constantly be being guided by him? How are you going to let him guide you every single step of the way if your mind and your eyes are set on something else?
Wow.
Right?
I wanted to ask you because from what you're saying, it sounds like, okay, if I walk next to God, I'm going to be able to hear him over the loud noise of life, over the distractions. I'm going to be focused on his voice. Great. So does that mean I can't ruin God's plans for me? See, because for me, I'm going to be vulnerable here. Like, there was a time in my life where I was with somebody.
Yeah.
And I was really afraid that I wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't know. It wasn't like strong feelings where I was like, I'm not supposed to be here 100%. It was like so much confliction inside me where I was like, I want to be here, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. And I was so afraid of ruining God's plans and being like, okay, what if I make a mistake and I wasn't supposed to do this? I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm not in God's will anymore. What if I'm ruining his plans for me?
Wow.
And that was a real fear that I had, and it was really hard, and I just didn't know what to do. So can we ruin God's plans for us?
Wow, that's a really intense question.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, because I know we said that before, but I feel like we can delay our destiny.
Okay.
Right? Because God calls all of us, right? God wants every single person on this earth to offer that, to accept that free gift of salvation and go to him and become close to him, right? And he wants us to do that. But sometimes, there's some people that they're so on fire for God, and then something happens, they just leave. And I feel like in that moment of them, leaving and not caring about God, it's like they're kind of just delaying that purpose, and it's like God has something for them, but it's like, God has this gift in front of you, but then you turn your back on it and you start walking to get some other gift that's not as good as that one, so it's like, I think we can delay it. I think if we're not focused 100% on God, or if we just let ourselves do it like whatever we want and not put God in front, it's going to delay. I feel like it's going to delay our destiny. And that's how I feel about that.
I think looking back, God has given me a lot of knowledge and wisdom over, that kind of situation that I was in. And I believe that when you truly seek God and you walk with him, you will not ruin his plans. I think
100%.
I think when you make a mistake, God's not like, oh my gosh, this kid ruined my plans. What are we gonna do now? I gotta give him a different plan. No. I think, yes, what you said, we can set back maybe something that God wanted to give us earlier, but I don't think we ruin his plans. And I want to stress that to anybody out there that is going through the same thing or has gone through the same thing that I did of fear of like, you're not in God's will. You are. When you set yourself apart for God, when you say, God, reign over my life, Jesus, take your throne. I want to be the temple of the Holy Spirit. God, I'm seeking you. I want to know more about you. I want to love you. I want to understand you. God's not going to let you ruin, quote unquote, his plans. He's not going to let you destroy your whole life when you're over here just trying to seek God. Yes, mistakes will be made along the way, but those mistakes God will use for lessons. Those valleys God will use to one day put you up on that mountain. But I don't think, and not that I don't think, I'm encouraging you guys to understand this. You are not ruining God's plans. When you truly seek, and I look back at when I was asking those questions and I had those fears, yes, I was praying. Yes, once in a while I was reading my Bible, but was I truly sitting in the presence of God? Was I truly seeking him? No, I was seeking an answer. I wasn't seeking him.
Wow.
Which was crazy because I was like, okay, God, I need an answer. God, help me out. God, show me, am I supposed to be here? But I wasn't seeking him. I wasn't seeking his heart. I was seeking an answer. And when you seek God's heart, the rest adds up like we said before. When you seek God's heart, that answer will come.
Wow.
And eventually I realized, okay, like God guided me and he said, this is where I want you. when I became intimate with him, when I entered real fellowship with him, God guided me and he said, okay, this is where I want you.
Wow. And I feel like right now, this is a wake-up call for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
It's like, no, God's not done with you.
Oh my
God is not done with you. You have not gone so far. Like you're not like you just messed up his plans completely. Now he can't retrieve you. He can't he can't help you. Like no.
Not even just that, but some of you have settled for less. Some of you have appointed a so-called purpose to something. You're like, I'm pretty good at this. I guess this was my purpose. No. Some of you have hit a certain age or maybe you have a family, kids already. You're like, it's too late for God to have a plan for me. Like, I'm too busy. I already have a good paying job. I got to feed the fam. It's like, I guess this is what God's plan was for me, I guess. No.
Wow.
No, I want to say that over and over again. No. Your plan doesn't end. Your plan, like when you retire, your plan's not over. This plan doesn't have an expiration date. God is not done with you until the day you are in heaven with him. Do you understand that?
Wow.
God uses you in every single way. Something I want to express is when you bring a celebrity to the feet of Jesus, it's not any different than when you invite a friend to church.
Wow.
One is not valued more than the other. I want you to understand the importance of that one friend that you invited, that one friend that changed their whole life and gave their life to Jesus. That one person, that is so valuable, and that is part of the plan. That is part of your purpose. That it's not something to brush by. Yeah, I saved one. Cool. No, that is valuable. God, you have rewards in heaven for that.
Wow. It's like there's still work for you to do.
I don't care if you're 80. I don't care if you're 90. I don't care if you're in bed and sick. You can still impact the people around you.
Wow.
It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what part of the world you're in, who your family is. That does not matter. God has a plan for you. It doesn't matter how far gone you are, quote unquote, because you're not too far gone. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past or what you will do. God has a plan for you right now.
Wow.
There is no ifs or buts.
Amen. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so good. And I feel like this can relate to a lot of people, but I remember there's a moment where I was in my room, and this is after a whole retreat. So retreats are like you get spiritual highs like crazy, and like it's so good, right? So I was home, and I remember this was after retreat, and I just felt like kind of just like, what's my purpose? Like more strongly than ever. Because I was just comparing myself to my friends, right? Like, wow, God is doing so much in that friend's life. And like this friend has the gift of prophecy. God speaks to him through dreams and prophecies. That's so cool. What about me? And I felt that. And I was like, I felt that so bad. I called my pastor and I was like, yo, like, I don't know what to do. And I remember I was starting to get emotional. Because I was like,
of course.
Like, what does God have for me? Like, I feel like God has nothing for me. I have nothing to do. Right. But like I said earlier, we do have things to do. But I remember just sharing that and like just being so emotional because I feel like everybody else had something, but I didn't have anything, right? And it's like after I don't know how long that was, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, like, and Daniel, like I have so much stuff on my plate now. Yeah. Like God has really put so much things in my life that I can, be loyal to and put myself into, like with like this podcast. And it's so amazing that, God heard that conversation, right? God saw my heart, right? And it's like, have you prayed for it yet? Have you prayed that God would reveal his purpose for you? Like, have you told God, I want like to know what my purpose is. What is my plan? Like, have you been seeking that? Right? Because the thing is, we might want an answer so bad, but we don't seek it. Or we don't seek that, like I said, we don't seek that intimacy with God. Right? It's like it's so funny. The whole answer to this episode is like, get intimate with God. Yeah. Right? Because like, you don't have to know everything. God knows everything. And as you move forward with God intimately, he will reveal little things as you go. Tell you little things as you go. Guide you as you go. You don't have to know everything. Yeah. Because the thing is, you're not supposed to know everything. Yeah, that's God true. Knows everything. But I just feel like this whole episode kind of reels back to this one thing, and it's that you have to be intimate with God. Yeah. He is the one that holds your life in his hands, that holds your purpose, that holds everything in his hands. You have to play your part. You have to play your part. God's not going to drop this blueprint or this plan out of nowhere in the middle of nothing. You have to play your part. Yep. You have to play your part. And I remember there's many moments where I was so mad at God for not talking to me. And I was so mad. And I talked to this one lady, and this lady told me like, okay, well, are you seeking for an answer? And And I was kind of like, I felt a little convicted because I was so mad at God. I was so like passionate, like, God, why aren't you helping me? Why aren't you telling me anything?
Yeah.
But I literally wasn't like praying. I wasn't reading. I wasn't seeking it. Like I wasn't seeking him. And so that really gave me revelation because I was like, dang, like I was so caught up in trying to figure out this answer that I actually wasn't just working on my relationship with God.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, because it's like God wants a relationship over duties. Like he wants us to be close. That is the main key for anything when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to helping others. You know, like you said earlier, like how can we even say anything to anybody if we're not close to God?
It's kind of like the purpose is kind of like an add-on. It's an add-on for your relationship with God. You know, like if God only gave you that purpose and no relationship with him, you would still be empty. Even if you're a pastor.
And if anything, you'd probably go crazy because you're trying to make everything happen by yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to do everything by yourself. You're trying to make sure everything goes well, and you feel stressed out and you can't do it. And it's like, you feel stressed out because you're not supposed to do it by yourself.
Another word I want to throw out there is trust. Trust and faith, which is something that I was struggling with recently. It was like, okay, God, I trust you. I'm in your hands. I know you have a plan for me.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this. But I kind of want to do this. But what if this doesn't work out? We say we trust God and we try to believe it, but do we really? Because the buts and the ifs and the what ifs start to get thrown into the sequence, and all of a sudden, are you really trusting God?
Wow.
And that was the ultimate question for me was, where is your faith? If you say, okay, God, I trust you, but you're asking yourself, what if this? The trust is lacking. That faith is lacking. And God says, trust me. Trust me. Trust me and trust the plan that I have for you and just live what you're living right now and enjoy what I'm giving you right now. These blessings that I'm giving you right now. Stop trying to be like, oh, but what about this and the future and this and the plans and the... Work on your intimacy with me and I will give you the rest. Just have faith in me. And that's something that I needed to understand and to truly incorporate in my daily living was, God, I trust you. God, there is no buts and ifs this time. I just trust you. I'm going to live the blessings you're giving me now. I'm going to work on the purpose that you're providing me now.
Yeah.
And the later stuff, you will provide for.
Yeah.
Because I trust that you have a plan for me.
Yeah.
And listen, that's hard. I don't blame any of you. I don't blame myself for feeling that way because it's hard to give God everything and give him full control when we think we know what's best for us. And we don't see what's in the future. And it's hard. It's hard to sometimes trust things that we don't see. And the stuff that God is working in the background, we don't always see that stuff. And so it's really hard to put our full faith and trust and say, God, we're in your hands.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. And I think, something that people need to hear is God's got you.
Yeah.
Like God's got you. Like if he knows everything, like he's gonna provide for you. He's gonna help you. Like God's really got you. Like you don't have to worry. I forgot what Jesus said. He was like, who can have an hour of their life by worrying? Right? It's like, what is worrying gonna do? Right? Except trust in him. He knows you need provision. He knows you need this. He knows. Yeah. Right? So put your trust in him. And sometimes we might get frustrated because like, God, this is not what I pictured. This is not what I imagined. This outcome is not what I wanted, God, and I don't know if I can trust you anymore because I expected this, but this happened. Right? But it's like, where's your trust? Remember that this is the God of the universe. This is the God this is God who made everything. Like
not just made everything, but loves you so deeply that he knows everything about you, your strengths, your weaknesses, the gifts he's giving you, every hair on your head, knit you in the womb. That same God has a plan for you. For you.
And for the people that feel purposeless, get connected to God. Just get connected to him. Yeah. You feel like you don't know your purpose, get connected to him. Yeah. Seek first the kingdom of God.
And I promise you, he's gonna little by little show you the plans that he has for you and that purpose that he has for you. That's incredible. And the people that have their flame kind of shutting down on their purpose and their plan, there is still more for you. I want you to really listen to me. There is still more for you. God has some big things for you. God has more for your life, and he needs you to be receptive of it. he needs you to have those open arms and say, okay, God, I accept whatever is coming for me. God, I want to have this prayer. And I mean, do this prayer when you're talking to God. God, I want to be a tool for you. I want to be an instrument for your will. I want to live in the purpose that you have for me. Say that and pray over that every single day, and you will see God start to move in your life.
Wow.
You will see God, and those flames that feel put down, those will reignite so fast.
Wow.
So fast when you say, God, I want to be an instrument for you. I don't care what age, what anything. There is no what or buts or ifs. God, I want to be an instrument for you, and I know you're not done with me.
Wow.
And
That's
repeat
so good.
yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, God has a plan for me. God has a plan for me, and I trust him.
So good. And that word, receptive. Have you stopped being receptive because you feel like God's done with you?
Yeah.
Be receptive to it. God's not done with you, like you said. Be receptive to it and tell yourself in the mirror, like, God, I know God's got me. God's a purpose for my life, and you're going to see that.
Yeah.
Seek that intimacy. Be receptive.
Yeah.
God's not done with you,
Yeah.
and you'll get that.
Facts. Yo, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Make sure you guys leave a like. Comment down below the things that God is doing in your life right now. Leave a like. We love you. Follow us on all the platforms. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll see you guys for the next episode. God has a plan for you. Let's go.
Peace.